the first time since the day of his verdict. Now, Sean Combs ended up being convicted of 2 charges. Those were transportation for the purpose of charges. He was let off on the more severe charges of trafficking and racketeering conspiracy.
One where power isn't just about money or fame, it's about control, coercion, and the ability to turn human beings into props in your own twisted fantasy. This isn't a scene from a dystopian movie, but the reality that federal prosecutors say, Sean Diddy. Combs built behind the velvet ropes, a world that a federal judge just confirmed in chilling detail through a 16-page ruling, leaving no room for escape as the slow-motion clips of Diddy's iconic red carpet strut flash across the screen. All cameras and designer labels. We collide head-first with the verdict. U.S. District Judge Aaron not only denied the request for a new trial, but dropped a legal bomb on Diddy's defense, calling his conduct criminal. One judges don't destroy high-profile defenses for sport. This was a calculated takedown line by line, tearing apart every excuse and exposing the truth under the courtroom lights like forensic evidence. This was more than a loss. It was a public unmasking of power stripped bare to light.
All right, Sean Diddy Combs back in court today in an effort to have his guilty verdict thrown out. Combs is facing sentencing next month for his conviction on...
Years passed, a slap on the wrist. He isn't just staring down a possible double-digit prison sentence, he's facing a judge who left a trail of breadcrumbs in his ruling for every appeals court to follow. This conviction was built for the long haul, weatherproof. Against every legal storm, Judge Aaron was precise, almost surgical, saying, "The government proved its case many times over." We can hear the thud as every argument from Diddy's team gets knocked aside. Their claims, called wholly inaccurate judges, rarely go this far to not only win the round, but destroy any chance of a rematch when the ruling landed. The message was loud and clear. This wasn't about one mistake or a party gone wrong. The pattern itself was the crime. So what did the government uncover? Enter the disturbing core of the case. The infamous Freakoffs, forget the whispers and sugar-coated talk. Prosecutors described them as elaborate staged performances where control wasn't just shown, it was designed. The evidence was shocking and systematic. After raids on Diddy's homes, investigators carted off what looked like a small warehouse of supplies, over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and various lubricants, making it clear this wasn't the result of a weekend gone wild, but a fully stocked operation. Witnesses painted an even darker picture. Assistants said their duties changed overnight, from managing tours for chart-topping artists to booking flights for participants. Bodyguards became handlers, coordinating hotels and running cover. Others told of cleaning up after multi-day events, ensuring nothing leaked out from behind the wall of luxury.
Referred to me as Wild King Nights. And what a Wild King Night was when him and a guest would go to a hotel room or be at his home, his bedroom, and they would have intimate gatherings. I would have to go and prep that hotel room, which consisted of baby oil, Astroglide.
They would have intimate gatherings, and I would have to go and prepare the hotel room, which included baby oil and Astrol. And this is where the story shifts from shocking headlines to a disturbing machine. It wasn't just that these events happened. It was the precision behind them. Insiders speaking under anonymity said Diddy's inner circle ran like a Fortune 500 company with a dark mission statement where loyalty didn't just mean silence, it meant survival. If there was a secret handshake, it was signed in ink and reinforced with the knowledge that if you talked, you lost everything. To outsiders, it looked like a revolving door of celebrities and temptation. But to those inside, it was a closed circuit, a system as airtight as any mob family. Of course, Diddy's label hasn't commented on these claims, but the patterns are impossible to ignore, especially as federal agents trace the money and the schedules they needed to show that.
They needed to show that there was an agreement, that the organization knew what it was doing, that it was an enterprise, not in law, but in fact, that people understood the object of the enterprise, which was to promote Sean Combs and his brands and sort of fulfill any deviant desires he may have had, and then to cover up any crimes committed over the course of fulfilling those desires.
as the trial moved forward. The prosecution's story gained power. It wasn't just about what Diddy did, but how he did it, and with whom witnesses revealed that these gatherings weren't random. Moments of bad judgment, they were planned, repeated, and fully staffed. One former assistant testified that booking flights for company was as routine as stocking the fridge with sparkling water. The operation needed constant maintenance, and everyone had a role to play. The evidence seized during the raids painted a surreal picture: over 1,000 bottles, piles of enhancement products, and stacks of receipts, forming a trail straight toward a federal indictment. Inside the courtroom, it became clear. This was never about pleasure. It was business. A carefully run system operating behind the glamour.
The government essentially said that Sean Combs led a criminal enterprise for his desires, that he tried to cover up crimes, that he was the leader of this criminal enterprise, and that he committed at least two, that they believe, of these elements that are part of the racketeering conspiracy.
The judge seized on every detail in his 16-page takedown of the defense's appeal. He didn't just reject Diddy's arguments, he shredded them, calling out the attempt to downplay the Freakoffs as harmless lifestyle choices. The judge wrote that those claims were wholly inaccurate and made it clear the jury had already seen through the smoke and mirrors. Even though Diddy walked free on the racketeering and trafficking charges, the ruling made it plain that those acquittals didn't wipe the slate clean. The Freakoffs and everything connected to them are now cemented in the official record as proof of something far deeper: criminal intent woven into the very fabric of his everyday.
How many people came through his orbit? How many people could this have happened to? And how did he get away with it for so long?
A life. Here, the judge didn't just see a list of criminal charges, he saw a lifestyle, a carefully built image now stripped of its filters, and once that mask is torn off in a federal courtroom, it doesn't disappear with the next album. Release the reality of a judge who already believes in a defendant's pattern of behavior is a nightmare for any defense team and a warning for everyone still clinging to the edges of Diddy's collapsing empire. If the court has all but declared his world a machine of exploitation. What comes next when sentencing arrives? What happens when a judge sees this not as a single crime, but as a way of life? And even more chilling, what does it mean for those who stood beside him? The accountants, the assistants, the bodyguards, the ones who cleaned the rooms, held the cameras, booked the flights, and kept the secrets, as Diddy sits frozen in the courtroom, his face locked in resignation. The weight of the ruling settles, like a storm cloud. And for the first time, his inner circle must be wondering if the next knock on the door will be for them.
Tick-tock, tick-tock, the clock is ticking on Diddy, because on Friday he finds out what his sentence is going to be, but today he found out what prosecutors would like that sentence to be, and it is vastly different from what his attorneys have suggested to the judge. Prosecutors want him to do 11 years, just over 11.
Even one day. The office recommends that Sean Combs should serve 5 to 7 years. The next federal prosecutors push for 11 years and 3 months. This isn't just a debate over numbers on a calendar. It's a battle for legacy unfolding in real time. This sentencing standoff reveals exactly what the system thinks of the man sitting in the dock. Is Diddy about to be branded a calculating predator, someone who used power and fame as tools for exploitation? Or will the court draw a softer line between vice and villain, chalking it up to reckless choices and letting him walk out in time for a comeback for all the courtroom performance and legal arguments? The harsh truth is that Diddy's sentence now represents something bigger. It is the measure of how the law weighs not just what he did, but who he truly is.
And I think when it came to, it's not just the more serious charges, but it's the more complex charges, where the jury, in order to, for instance, find guilt on the racketeering charge, was going to have to find not just that Sean Combs had kicked his girlfriend, had beat people up, had engaged in truly abhorrent behavior, but that he ran a criminal.
The court may appear impartial, but anyone familiar with Judge Aaron's record can see the pattern. This is a judge known for coming down hard whenever federal prosecutors bare their teeth and the prosecution is counting on it. They are playing the relevant conduct card to its fullest meaning. Every shadow, every rumor, every disturbing detail in those 16 pages can be poured straight into the sentencing grinder. Former federal prosecutor Nyama Romani warned that the judge can consider other conduct, including substances, violence, and coercion, even without convictions. This isn't the polite illusion of separate charges. It's a judicial green light to turn every dark secret into ammunition. The infamous freak-off parties once whispered about like urban legend are now locked in as evidence. Not just salacious background, but a portrait of character with Diddy, cast in a role he can't escape beyond the headlines. And courtroom moves. The true cost is human. Cassie Ventura's letter to Judge Aaron before sentencing didn't hide behind polite language. She begged the court to remember the lives Sean Combs damaged through years of abuse and control. Cassie stands as the living centerpiece of the prosecution's case, a decade inside Diddy's world, where manipulation and fear ruled her story, echoed by other women identified only as Jane and Mia, who described being drawn in, used, and discarded for them. This trial isn't spectacle, it's the wreckage of real lives.
I'm sorry, I'm just like really, I'm in this moment right now. This is crazy. Sorry.